we're thinking about reflections today. You know, reflections when an image is copied into something else, usually in a mirror or water, something like that, isn't it? It's just the opposite way around, isn't it? We're thinking about reflections today. Let's start off with a bit of a game. I'll show you some reflections. See if you can work out what it is a reflection of. They'll be coming up here. Okay? Here's the first reflection. What is that a reflection of? Can you work it out? Yeah. It's a swan, isn't it? Okay. Next one, here goes. What is this a reflection of? I like that one. Yeah, it's a big cat. What sort of cat? I think it's a leopard, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, next one. Here's a beautiful reflection. Look at this. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's a reflection. Do you know? Yeah, a reflection of a mountain scene, a snowy sort of scene, isn't it? Yeah. And the next one is a reflection. Bit like the big cat. What's this one? Do you know that character? Yes, Tigger, isn't it? Reflection of Tigger. And the last one, here's one. What's this a reflection of? It's a reflection of reflections, of the word. Reflections, isn't it? Reflections. They were good, weren't they? Okay, but of course, the word reflection has got another meaning as well. Reflection means when you look back seriously at something, when you stop and you think about what has happened, you reflect upon something. And maybe we should be reflecting now upon what's been happening over the past year or so. We've had, well, an incredible year, haven't we? So many different things have happened to us, to each other, and in the world as well. This pandemic that's been going on, many people have been ill, people have been worried, people have been at home, we've not been able to go to school, some of us can go to school, we're a bit here, we're a bit there, all sorts of things happening. People have died around the world as well. I wonder what you reflect upon as you look back over this past year. What do you think about as you think about the pandemic that's happened over this past year? Why don't we stop now and have a time of reflection over what has happened? You think and you talk about it with somebody else. What do you reflect upon? What do you think about what's happened over this past year? Off you go. Okay, well done everybody. In a couple of months' time, it's Easter. Easter is what I think is the most important thing that's ever happened in the whole history of the world. When Jesus died on the cross and when he came back to life, I think it's the most important thing, more important than anything that's happened in the world since or before that, even in this past year, this pandemic. And before Jesus went to the cross, the Bible tells us this. Before he went to the cross, before he did any of the miracles, before any of the stories that I've told you about Jesus, he had a time of reflection. Yeah, the Bible tells us that Jesus went away by himself and had a time of being by himself and being with God, thinking about his life, getting ready for what was to come in his life, thinking about the world, praying, all those sorts of things. It shows us that reflection, having a time of reflection, stopping and thinking seriously about what's happened and what is to come, it shows us that that is really important for Jesus and important for each one of us to do as well. Lots of people, before Easter happens in a couple of months' time, they have 40 days of Lent. It's called, maybe you've heard of Lent, and Lent starts just next week. Yeah, on next Wednesday of next week, after Pancake Day, that's when Lent starts. And lots of people use that time to stop and to think and to have a time of reflection before Easter comes. One of the things that I do is I have days throughout the year where I go away and I spend time by myself, where I stop and I think about my life and I pray with God and I spend time just thinking about the whole world and praying about all sorts of different things. I have a time of reflection because I think it's good for me. So how about you? Do you have a time of reflection? Do you have a time where you stop and think about your life and stop and think about things? It's really good for us. It helps us to work out the best way to do things. So I'll tell you what, today, instead of having a prayer, I'm going to show you some pictures. There's some beautiful pictures of reflections of beautiful scenery, and I'll play some music. And in this time of music and pictures, why don't you just be quiet and use this as a time of reflection? See what thoughts come into your mind. Maybe you want to pray to God. Just pray silently to God. Maybe you want to use that time for that as well. It's up to you. Here we go. Well, I hope that's been useful for you children. I hope you've used that as a time of reflection for yourselves. Okay, children, it's been great to be with you today. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye.